We are learning more about emotional intelligence, but do we really know and understand what that means for our families and how it might be impacting sleep in your home? Well, today I have Claudia Ricard, the English hypnotist, where we're going to dive deep into some of these unwanted feelings. Because when we understand that, not only do our emotions impact sleep, but there's also evidence that plays a key role in regulating emotion in our day to day parenting journey. Claudia is going to share some tips and tricks to incorporate some simple ways to have better experiences and build that emotional intelligence in your home. In our most sleep deprived moments, our children will teach us exactly what we need in order to learn and grow into who we were created to be. These are the loving lessons we will learn whether we were wanting to or not. I'm Irene Gooch, your sleep coach, and I'm on mission to educate parents on how to help their young children sleep. Welcome to the journey. Well, hello and welcome to the Loving Lessons Learned podcast. I am super excited to share with you today my good friend, the English hypnotist, Claudia Ricard. She is a speaker and author. She was born in the UK and moved here to North Carolina in 2019. She is an emotional intelligence development specialist, which I'm super excited to dive into, a certified consulting hypnotist, a Nightingale memory consultant, a Golding sleep talk consultant, a master NLP practitioner, advanced blast techniques practitioner, and certified havening practitioner, and a certified life coach. So many amazing gifts and talents that she has to share with us. And she uses these techniques as well as EFT and kinetic shift in her practices and gives strategies to her clients to build their own inner resources and release old unwanted feelings. Claudia, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. No, I love it. I love speaking with you, Irene. We always have a good chat.
We
Thank you.
always have a good chat. I love it. And because we are willing to talk about those hard things, I think that a lot of times, those unwanted feelings that you talked about. And today we're talking about building that emotional intelligence. And so I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit and explain what is emotional intelligence for the parents that are listening. What is it? Why do we need to know about this?
Well, I believe it's really important for all of us to understand how our brains work. And when parents can understand that what they are saying or doing, behaving, that actually the children are picking up on these little cues, even the big
Mm,
cues, and that they are then internalizing these, and then that is why then they may do certain behaviors as well. So instead of getting confused about why your child is suddenly doing this, get curious.
I love
That
it.
Yeah, that is so important, to get curious. Well, what is going on for my child? What's happened? What have they seen? What have they heard? Who have they been with? What have I been doing? What have I not been doing? So it's about asking yourself those questions that then make you think and then think again. It's
Yeah.
really important to keep asking ourselves instead of not taking the responsibility and blaming others, because in my opinion, it's monkey see, monkey do. The child will copy the parents.
Mm,
The child will copy their peers. So it's even, and I'll just share this story with you. Uh, so it's not necessarily anything you've done. I remember my daughter. She was actually one of those children, because I've had five, and gone through a lot of bedwetting and goodness knows what. She was dry at like 2.5. Okay, she never wet a bed ever. And one morning, I went through to her room. She was 7, and her bed was drenched. And I said, "Oh," I said, "the bed's wet. What's that about?" I was like, really, I was like, "Oh," because I was shocked. It had never
yeah.
been wet
That's a
before.
good question of curiosity, though.
Yeah.
Oh, the bed's
Oh.
wet. Like, stating the facts. What's happening?
And she said, Well, my friend wets the bed, and I wanted to know what it felt like. So she wet the bed. I mean, she literally did her morning wee in the bed to see what it felt like to be in a wet bed. Because if she'd had
Interesting.
this discussion with a friend, oh, I wet my bed, I don't, don't like it, and she's like, oh, so she was curious, so
Mhm.
she tried it out. So I said, okay, now that we've tried it out, can we not do it again? Is that okay?
Can we just stop the madness?
Now that you've tried it. So that's what I mean. It's get curious.
Yes.
So many people can just go, because of now the hard work as the parent you've got to do. And I know it is. I've been there,
Yeah.
stripping the bed. It's like got to air it, whatever, it's like clean the mattress. And I didn't have any sort of the plastic sheeting on a bed at the time either because she'd never wet the bed.
Right. Well, Claudia, I think it's a fascinating story and it's a unique perspective of how you addressed it because
Mm.
it's apparent and obvious that you've been doing some work around your emotions and how you're regulating yourself. I'm wondering if you could speak to a parent that maybe doesn't even recognize that I might not be regulating myself well. How would they notice that they might be struggling?
Okay, great question. How would they even notice? I think it's that they would notice if they are getting like turning into a monster. Okay, and
Mm,
I've been there. All
yeah,
right,
me too.
literally, the
Me
end of the
too.
night, you kind of like you start twitching and shaking. It's just like just go away, leave me alone, leave me alone. Just stop it. Stop saying mummy, mummy, mummy. Just stop it. And you're literally, uh,
Mm,
you are frazzled. The and your head, and you just want to just, and actually you can go down the deep thoughts, the dark thoughts.
mhm.
I wonder if anybody would, what would happen if I just disappeared, that kind of thing. Okay,
Yeah,
it's like this is all too much, the overwhelm. And as I say, it's that kind of shaking. I do. As you just said as well. You remember, I can remember turning into a monster,
yeah.
and it was just like, please go to sleep. Just go, leave me alone for. And you just know it's like 5 minutes peace, five
Mhm.
minutes peace, because wherever you are, they go, even to the bathroom, everywhere.
I do.
It's
Yeah,
like can't have a bath, can't do that, and it's really so yeah. If you're and then you're snapping, it's the irritableness, it's the and just wondering that thought, is this ever going to end? Will I
yeah,
ever have fun again? Will I ever find it? And it's really sad. And it's, I know it's not all the time, because however, that's every so often that overwhelm can come up. And then that is where, yeah, it's like, just how about having some tools and techniques and strategies to help you?
yeah. I love that you talk about those symptoms, those things that we might notice as parents. And I know I struggled with intrusive thoughts when
Mm-hmm.
I first became a parent, and I had no idea and understanding this. And I think too, I'm a former school teacher, so I think academics are important. However, I also understood like emotional intelligence, especially building that for our children during these first 5 to 7 years, laying this foundation of understanding emotions. And that was not something that we practiced at my house. My parents were like, I'll give you something to cry about, and they were kind of like, pull up your big girl panties. That was kind of what I learned. And I learned to stuff my emotions.
Okay.
And so, I think a lot of times, one of the things I've learned through my journey was how much it disrupted my sleep and how it was creating panic attacks. I'm wondering, and I know that I worked with you in a season where all of a sudden I was having some other big emotions that were coming up. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your work as a hypnotist and like the process you take parents or people through in unpacking some of those emotions so that we can rest well.
Okay, so well, first of all, when somebody comes to see me, it's a 2 hour session because
Hmm.
I like to draw my diagrams and I explain about my expandable ball and how there can be emotions stuck on here. This is like represents the amygdala. So I explain all sorts of things. And I do this for children as well and teenagers.
I
Now,
love that you go into all the brain stuff. Like
yeah,
that is really key because I think understanding our brain is really crucial. Thank you.
and and then people keep all the diagrams that I draw, and I do it in a really easy to understand way because I build the diagrams with the person, and
Mhm.
as we're doing it, people share little snippets of what's been going on for them, and then we go, okay, okay, and then I know with them what is stuck on their landscape, if you like, and what needs to be cleared. Now, I like to get to the root of the issue of what is going on for people, and when we clear that, that is brilliant, and and I work effectively and efficiently, sort of like maximum, roughly the average is about 5 sessions. Now, there is something that people can do, and I'll share this on here, and in fact, I have it. It's on my YouTube channels and everything. Is havening, and you can do
Yeah.
self-havening. And if somebody's having difficulty going to sleep at night, and they can do this on their children as well, is stroking down from the shoulders down to the elbows. And you can use your hands. So if you're in a meeting or if you're getting nervous in a wherever it be at work, you can do this under the desk again. That all these are producing serotonin and oxytocin, our own happy hormones. Serotonin at nighttime, well, that's the one that helps you go to sleep. So that's perfect and it will calm you down. And you can do that to your child because obviously you can touch your child and you can do that. And so many, I mean, I don't know about you. I used to stroke my babies to sleep with a
Right
nurse.
there. Or
There you
even
go.
us
Did you
sometimes.
do
Yeah.
that? Yeah. So we're stroking them. And it's actually inbuilt, it's the touch. So, it's that, and if you're feeding a baby, whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding, it doesn't matter. You have the baby in your arms and a baby is held. So that's why we know this touch. And it's really helpful to help people to go to sleep.
Yeah. No, I love that. And you bring up so many things about getting into that relaxed state, right? Like that's what's going to help us regulate and let go. And biologically, then we can go to sleep. I
It's
wonder if you can talk a little bit about why hypnosis. What is hypnosis? Because I
okay.
think that some people, because you're the English hypnotist, so what
I
will
know.
what will
Listen,
people think? Like, because we can get a little woo woo here, and
I know, and it's not at all because everything's hypnosis. It's focused attention and utilizing your imagination. So if you need help with your pelvic floor, your PT person, they
Mhm.
will say as you are, locate your pelvic floor, and they'll say imagine a blueberry. And so you have to use your imagination. Now you're using focused attention because now you're going to imagine pulling it up as you're breathing and then you're lowering it down. That's hypnosis because you're
Mm.
utilizing focused attention and utilizing your imagination, and your thoughts are on that focused pelvic floor because you're not thinking another 100 million thoughts. So
Yeah.
hypnosis is just about, if you think of a funnel, we have loads and loads of thoughts going into our heads every day. I just get you into that layer where there's just less thoughts. So it's, yeah,
So it really sounds like you help parents really get present, get into
yes,
that moment to really just be truly with our children. Because I think children are, their brain is wired to be in the present moment. And as parents, we're like, we're either in the future or maybe in the past. And we have a hard time hanging out in the present. And so the tools and strategies you share help parents regulate those emotions and stay in the present moment.
absolutely, sort of the overwhelm of all of those millions of thoughts that we have of, oh, I've got to do this shopping, I've got to turn the oven on, I've got to get this cake mix, I've got to do that,
Yeah.
I've got, he needs a new pencil, he needs this, whatever it is, I've got to create this outfit that they need for
Yeah.
World Book Day or whatever it is. Parents can get that massive over. I remember I did it. It was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I was completely frazzled. There was so much going on. Now, it's the same when somebody watches a movie and they're
Mhm.
completely focused on the movie, and somebody gets, and you're getting upset or annoyed with it or scared. It's not real. Again, that's eyes open hypnosis, highway hypnosis when we're driving. Everything is hypnosis. It,
Yeah.
it's and we all do it every single day. And you can hypnosis is belief systems as well. You know, it's like that running commentary. Oh, I'm an awful mother, or oh, I need I'll never get to sleep. When will I go to sleep? Da, da, da.
Yeah. I love that you're talking about the stories we tell ourselves, the beliefs we end up
Mhm.
having, and we don't realize like how much we are practicing that. And that was something that I didn't realize that I had fallen into that trap when I had come to see you. And so I think, again, in different seasons of our parenting journey, we may have different layers that we may need to unpack. And I was really, truly blessed to like recognize, like, oh, like, where was I focusing my attention?
Yeah.
You clarifying and helping me understand like everything around us is kind of hypnotizing us. We get to choose what we are going to focus on. And like just sometimes being able to have somebody help you reset was super helpful. So I am so grateful for you and the work that you are doing.
However, remember, you did that because you were aware enough.
Yes.
Oh, I'm running this movie through my head that's a negative movie,
Yes.
because we are the movies we play in our heads.
Hmm.
So I invite everybody to play a good one.
Yeah. You say play a good movie. I love that. Play a good movie.
Yeah, I use that a lot. And I say that in hypnosis. So it's, as I said, I don't tell people what to do, I guide them. So I say that in hypnosis, play good, but it's your movie. I'm not saying what to play, it's
Right.
yours.
Yeah.
Everything I do. Yeah.
And that's very empowering. I think like that's the one thing that a lot of times most people might not recognize. Like when they get to a place of like, I want to stop dealing with this, then we can play a better movie.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference.
Exactly, because it's really important to have the person doing their work themselves, because I don't want to disable people. You have all the answers inside of you. I merely guide to get
Yeah.
people to where they need to be. And then, as I say, you have all the answers inside of you, and then you get to flourish and be all you can be.
Yeah.
And because of all the other nuances, it's like there's never a fail, there's only learning. It's big, and that's so important for all of us to understand. There's never a fail in life. There's only ever learning. There's only ever feedback.
Writing that one down. There's never a fail, always learning. And actually, I repeat that quite a bit. I'm like, there's always learning.
Yeah,
Everything is a learning opportunity. And
yeah,
so that's such good wisdom. Thank you.
yeah. I say that to my to all my children when they've been teenagers and they've done something like incredibly ridiculous. I don't say, why did you do that? Okay, because that's blaming. It's okay, what did you learn? You
Yeah,
know?
what a powerful reframe. A very simple, like it wasn't anything extra. You just changed the way you thought
Yeah,
about it, the way you
yeah.
spoke about it.
Because I know my mother was very critical, and it was you, and it's like, why did you do that? You so stupid. Da, 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 da. And it's just like, yes, I am stupid. No, I just did for a clever person, I did a stupid thing.
Right. Absolutely. Right. And like, and again, how many times, like, if we could feel and learn that along the way, how much easier it would have been. I'm all about therapy reduction with my kiddos.
Well, yeah, it's just about, so your child might actually do something. Well, for a clever boy, that was a silly thing to do. Um, shall we not do that again? Or how about we tidy up together? Whatever it is. But it's about, please, the children, they suck it in, and they take things so literally.
Yeah. Um, One of the interesting conversations you and I have had before is talking a little bit about crying. And I wonder if you could share a little bit about what that might do for a parent when they're triggered, when their child is maybe crying or whining, and any other insights that might be helpful for parents to
So
understand.
yeah, it's fascinating. So babies, and I mean, they do cry because they need to get their needs met. Okay, and they will
Absolutely.
have different cries, and eventually, as you go through it, you will notice, oh, that's their hungry cry. There's a definite hungry cry. I
Yes.
remember it's like wah, 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 and it's like and it's meant to get your oxytocin going so that you pick your baby up and feed it. Actually, that is a primal thing. Okay,
Yes.
it's there and it's in the limbic. Then, of course, we've got, well, you've got to check whether they're too hot, they're too cold, they want a hug. Have they got, do they need to wind themselves? Have they got tummy ache? What is it? Okay. And then, of course, I know there's the whole teething thing and the little red cheeks and, all of those other things. However, when your child gets overstimulated, they, so say this is their amygdala, they're then going, and that's a lot. They've just learned a lot. Okay. So maybe they had just gone, I've got a hand. Okay. And then it's like, wah! Now they have to go to sleep then, and crying helps them because it gives them that after they've cried, so that they can then go back into their parasympathetic nervous system to calm down, because it helps us calm down when we're doing that. Okay, the breath, and they go to sleep. Then they wake up. Oh, they've learned they've got a hand, so that's fine. Oh, they've got another hand. Okay, now they're going to cry again, and then it's like, oh, they clap, and then they're crying again, and then it's, oh, I'm picking something up, and then they have to cry again, because when somebody goes to sleep, they have something, we all have something called REM, rapid eye movement, and that is pocketing what we have learned into the right place in our brain, so into the hippocampus. So then that is why they keep learning. Well, a baby has so much to learn, you know? And the thing is that what is so lovely is that when we have a child that is learning and they start cruising and we're going, yay, yay. Oh, they're rocking and they're crawling their first crawl. Oh, you
Wow.
did that. It's fantastic. So the baby is getting yay, yay, yay all the time. And even when they start walking and they fall, a baby gets clapped. There's no like, oh, you silly thing for falling.
Right? Oh, I love that reframe.
Yeah. So we're getting all this love, love, love. Babies are like, generally, hopefully, I know it can be the opposite sometimes.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
know, I've seen people. However, generally, we're like, yeah, you did that. Yeah, you did that. However, then it's like, oh, now they're moving a little bit too much and they're getting into all the cupboards and they're pulling
Yes.
everything out.
Now you're getting on my nerves.
Yeah, now, and then they start getting told no.
Yes.
Okay. So now there's other things going on in that. So a child is pure. They have all this like a, if you think of a thing of uh, clear liquid water, and then they start getting the nose, like a bit of put sprinkled coffee on it, or told off, or they're shouting, or whatever it is, and they've been, they feel they're bad. Well, now they're going to sleep with like a bit of muddy water, and we have to keep on pouring, because we never know again. We have to keep on pouring lots of pure water on there, which is love. If a child is acting out, get curious and give it more love. Pour the clear water on, pour love on everything.
Yeah.
Get curious.
I love that. And I actually use a mantra with my families where we talk about breathe love versus breathing fear, because sometimes we don't realize what is happening in that moment. And so it can help us reset our brain
Mm-hmm.
to understand what's taking place. But I love what you just said about like children, right? Like as babies, they do all these things and we encourage them. And as adults, we don't encourage each other through these mistakes. And we're
Yeah,
left with all those big emotions to deal with. And like somehow or other, somewhere along the way, we learned that it was not okay.
yeah. That's why I wrote my book, A Parent's Journey and the Bunny Talk Process.
Tell
It's
me
my
about that because it's so good.
Yeah. So it's short, it's brief. I did that on purpose because it's parents don't have time to read. They want it now. It talks about best practices with there's a divorce as well, for and stepchildren, because we all come from different models of the world. It gives parents a lot of grace. I made all the mistakes. I used to be a big shouty parent. It's all of those things. And then there's my bunny talk process in there at the end, which is what I did with my third child. We did this, which is like shadow puppets, and we did mummy
Love
bunny,
it.
baby bunny, and we talked a lot. And I talked to the days of the week, months of the year, and sometimes I would be the baby bunny and she would be the mummy bunny or the teacher bunny, and I would get it something wrong on purpose, a math sum or whatever it was, and she'd go, "It's okay, just have another go." So she learnt to be kind. And we did this for years. All right, we just played with her, but in fact we still do it. She's 18. All right. However, so if she goes out the door, I'll just do this to her and she does it back, so we know it's like a I love you.
Hmm.
Now roll on when she was 15. She came through to my room one night. She was sobbing, and because we hadn't done bunny talk for a while, um, and but she was sobbing, really really upset. It wasn't a good sob, and I got into her room. I cuddled her, and I said, can you tell me what it is? And she couldn't tell me, and she had been self-harming as well. And again, I'd blamed myself because it was my fault for bringing her over from England to America, and then it was COVID, no friends, my fault, no school. uh anyway, she wouldn't talk to me, so don't ask me what made me do it. I got my mummy bunny out and I just did that, and she got her baby bunny out with the little ears down, and then she told mummy bunny what had happened to her,
Hmm.
and she was able to share. The bunny gave her a voice. She was able to dissociate us from the issue, and the bunny was able to do it.
Yeah, that's
And
so
that,
beautiful.
oh, it is, it's huge. And then since then we've done walks, and she said, because of that, mummy, knew then that I could tell you anything. I mean, she's 18 now, she overshares. And that's fine. I take it as a complete compliment. It's a complete privilege.
That's
And
awesome.
she has a voice.
Hmm.
She has then been able to tell me more about what happened, and she the the perpetrator, and asked them, and timings, and she felt she could.
Hmm.
And I am learning more and more about this, and I've developed it into a course for other therapists, psychologists. I've got a psychologist training with me, for again, hypnotists, hypnotherapists, people who work with children, because it's not just that, it's inner child work for the adult.
Hmm. I was just going to say, Claudia, I think that one of my big takeaways as I was reading some of that was sometimes being able to not just practice it for myself as an adult, but to model it for my kiddos and open a way to have them share their voice
Yeah,
through play, because I think children, everything they learn is through play. And we forget that as adults because we don't play enough, I think, as
yeah.
adults. I think we need to play more so we can live well and sleep well and all that good stuff. But I think, sometimes we forget that play aspect, and, most of the time, I think we think about going to a counselor or speaking to someone. It's like, oh, we're just going to have talk therapy. But it is like play therapy and moving our bodies and our imagination.
I do. Yeah, yeah.
And I
I
think that's one of
completely
my biggest takeaways from you is like, no, it's a different way.
hmm So I've recently been using this because I see, because I see children and draw around their bodies, and it's like, and then we do this, and we're on the floor, up off the floor, on the floor, and it's like completely, because children need to move
Yes.
all the
Hmm.
time. And so we do this. We get the cuddly toys out. Tell me a story. I mean, I remember in England, one of gosh, this must have been about 13 years ago. I saw this little girl, and she was afraid of the noises in the house. Now in England, we have radiators. Okay, we don't have
Mm.
air conditioning. We have radiators to keep it warm. In fact, I'm sure you do up north as well.
We did. Yeah. That was one of my jobs. I used to have to pour water in the radiator. It was
Oh,
back
okay.
in the day, back in my day.
And they make clinky noises.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
And she was afraid of noises, and there was some other little girls that were being mean to her.
Mm.
So her mother brought her to me, and we played Barbies, because children go into hypnosis, that state, when they're playing and they're talking, because it's just eyes open hypnosis.
Mhm.
It's just the changing the, it's all it is belief systems, changing the belief system out. It's a terrible name, hypnosis. It really needs to be changed, but they can't because that's what everybody knows it is.
Right,
It's not sleep. So,
right.
I don't put people to sleep. So she so we changed the bar. I never undressed. I played 2 hours of Barbies. I've never since, I haven't played Barbies so long since I was a little girl. But we undressed them, we put them all to bed. And then I started saying to them, and she gave them names. And I said, and it's like, and it's okay if you hear any noises, it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's just this. It's just that. And then she started doing it. So she was saying this to her little dollies, and we did this for a long time. And then every time we then started getting them up, we would take them to school, and there was this mean girl, and she was going, I that's unkind to say. I don't like that. And I'm going to play with these people now. And it was just like we just and she was doing it, and it was like okay, and that was how she was doing it. So first of all, yes, I knew because the parent had come. The main problem was the sleeping, but it was like the little girl then started. She just carried on. She did the work.
Yeah.
I'm literally there facilitating.
Well, you were at that space to practice,
Yes.
and I love that. Like, I think that we forget that we need to practice some of these skills along the way as we're building this emotional intelligence, as we're
Yep.
becoming aware of our voice and being able to
Yeah.
communicate more effectively.
It's just giving people that voice and that space in which to do the work themselves.
Yeah.
And that was it. One session, done. She was fine.
Yeah. Claudia, I'm wondering when you are working with families, because we have a lot of parents who are going to be watching this, um, do you work with the child or do you work with the parent and the child, or what does that look like?
Okay, so my sleep talk part that I do is not again about sleep. It's the gift a parent gives the child when they are asleep. It's a specific statement so
Mhm.
that if the child has got that coffee, like I mentioned before, that clear water, and they've got all this grainy stuff going on, then if the parent can layer on this beautiful statement, which is like pure water, unconditional love on top of that, then eventually the love always wins. It
Love
all
does it.
filters through, and then the child will wake up bright and happy because it's just beautiful. I so wish I'd been able to do this for my children. And it's and then that is what comes forth, and the child does then get greater resilience. The self-esteem builds, it's the confidence, and if there's specific things that need help, then the statement can be changed. However, and I teach the parent how to do that. So that is without the child. That's it takes 3 sessions, and somebody's with me for 6 months. I check in with them every week. How's it going? You're doing the statement because they've got to do it consistently. And if they don't, then it won't work as well. However, if they're doing it and then they haven't done it for a week because there's vacations, do you know what? Just get back on it. Just like with anything, just do it
Yeah.
again, do it again, and it makes a difference. It that has been 55 years old. That method, the Golding sleep talk process, and it's a proven method. It's
Yeah.
proven.
That's awesome.
Because they've done so much research on it, that it's like the children who didn't have it, the children who did have it from fires, from when there's like the lady lives in Australia, when there was like big massive fires somewhere. So again, we've got that going on. We had it in Maui in California. It's like children get scared, and it's this is what you can do, and there's no drugs involved, there's no therapy involved. You, the parent, are doing it. And when the parent gives this statement, oh my gosh, pretty much most parents cry when they first do it. When I do it on them and then they practice it, they just go, oh, it is so lovely. And so it's great for mothers who are trying to do all things and work as well. Then it relieves that guilt.
Mm.
It's just, or if they've just been a bit mean to their child that day, because hey, best will in the world, children, they can be really irritating, and we
They
can
really
snap.
can.
Yes,
They
they
really
really
can.
can,
That's
and
the
and we
reality.
can and we can snap.
Mhm.
It's like and then there's hormones for women as well.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You got to throw that into me as well? It's like, so yeah, I mean, I had to tell my children once a month I'm going to turn into a monster.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And and I think though too, like sometimes we don't give ourselves permission that like that is life happening around us, and
Mm.
having some tools to be equipped how to do life with those things is really crucial. So I'm so grateful for
Oh yeah,
the equipping that you do.
yes, and then and I teach them to do it themselves then, so that they can carry on as the child goes through other issues. It could be school, could be exams, it could be whatever it is. And as they're to become teenagers, friendship groups changing.
Yeah,
One mean teacher, it's all it takes,
that is all
you
it
know.
takes.
And
Mhm.
it's like, and the child can crumble.
Yeah.
One mean kid, bit of bullying, it
Is
can.
there is there an age when this doesn't work?
So it's well, actually, no, because I'm actually now we're working with a colleague of mine. She's also a sleep talk consultant. I mean, she trains it actually, and we're working together to actually do this for people living with dementia. So that actually, I mean, it will be slightly different. It's hypno sleep, like, and that one of our greats in our field, David Ellman, it, he coined that hypno sleep. So we are going to do that for caregivers. You know, I think it could work for anything,
It
really.
it made me wonder when you had made the comment that the parents will get kind of teary-eyed. I almost wonder if it's like some of that inner work that we do, that you're healing yourself, like you're speaking life to yourself, maybe something that maybe was never spoken to you. And so you get to change how you communicate with your little one.
Well, absolutely. And that's all part of the package, is that what
Yeah.
you're saying then, you carry on saying it during the day.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it for your child, because your child is you, your
Yeah.
child is half you.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
you are doing it for you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
You know?
Does. And it might not for some people who are listening, especially if this is new, as you are exploring, hey, this is all different and seems like it. I think it's interesting too, right? Because we're having to take responsibility for our emotions. We're having to become aware and having some self awareness, which sometimes are not things that people know. I know for myself as a new parent, I had no idea. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast and just bringing up these lessons that I've been learning along the way. I was like, oh, I wish maybe somebody would have shared that with me sooner so I would have known
Oh gosh,
just a little bit
I
earlier in my life.
really, really wish I'd known what I know now when I
Yeah.
was a young parent,
Yeah.
because it was tough. It was tough, and yeah, and that's
Not
why.
for the faint of heart.
No, it isn't. I mean, it's such a steep learning curve. And yeah, I mean, and I had a child that bit people, that was,
Mm,
it was just really hard. And then my second one didn't. He was just like an absolute easy dream, and was so sweet. But yeah, it is hard, you know.
yeah.
Really difficult.
Claudia, I know that you have an e-guide that you share with parents. What is that about? What would they
So,
expect?
so the one that you've gotten here, so it's called Overpower Your Overwhelm, and there are there's an e-guide about on things that you to help you overpower that. But there's also 3 relaxation recordings on there.
Hmm.
So there is one that is a mindfulness one, my version of mindfulness. That's really short. There's one that's great for if you've got any anxious feelings. It's the magic cloud, because this magic cloud comes and takes them away. And then there's another one which is a relaxation. They've all got ego strengthening in them. Listen to them only during the day. Do not be driving or working any heavy machinery. Yes, your children can listen to them as well. I have whole families listening to them. Children say, "Oh, can I listen to the sleepy lady?" It's and it's yeah, it helps.
Love it.
Yeah, just it is. It's really helpful.
Yeah.
So because it's really important for everybody to do the opposite of stress. So that's like stress. When it goes like
Yeah.
that, it's just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Relax. Bring it
Come
in.
back down there. Come back down there. And that
Yeah.
is what those do. And they're free. They're like complimentary. They're on there. And,
Perfect.
I mean, I know there is an immediate upsell. Do you know what? Just get it. It's only $7. There's more tools, more things, just more,
Yeah.
because I can. And I really want to help as many people as I can.
I love it. I know your heart. I know how much you love helping parents through this and just helping anybody, because you don't want to see people stuck in this kind of anxiety and stress and overwhelm. And I am going to have a link down below in the show notes so people can grab your bunny talk process book and the Overpower Overwhelm. I will tell you, I love Claudia's meditations, and that is a perfect thing to do a quiet time with toddlers and preschoolers, especially if they're resisting those naps. That is like perfect to connect with Claudia, the sleepy lady there. It's a great way to kind of create a little rhythm and routine for that. Well, Claudia, I know you and we could talk all day because we like to talk about hard things. And I appreciate you because none of this is comfortable, right? Like, parents probably listening to this, and if they've hung in there with us now, like they know, like, oh, I don't really know that I want to talk about all these hard feelings, but I think you and I both know it's worth it in the end.
Yeah, instead of suppressing it, you've got to
Yeah.
feel your feelings, get them out, and then it's not about indulging in them.
Yeah.
Feel them and then move on. It's okay to have your own sort of tantrum. It's okay to sit and cry. It's okay. And then, right, okay, now what am I going to do? Pick
Mhm.
yourself back up and do something, change your physiology, give yourself do a jump jack. I don't know, whatever you need to do, and then move on. But you
Yeah.
do have to feel your feelings.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for that you teach, like, how do I process this emotion? Because, like, that's something I didn't learn. I didn't know. So,
Mhm.
what a beautiful resource you are. And
Thank you.
hopefully, our families can keep building that resilience through emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
Now,
thank
before you hop off, I want to do our top 5 loving lessons learned. I get curious, I get nosy about people and like the things. And so I'm wondering, do you have a favorite product or service?
Well, okay. So yesterday I went to this place, and these are some yoga tune-up therapy balls.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I know, okay, so I was like fascinated, right? What are these for? Well, do you know what? And put your foot, because our foot, we're on our feet all the time, okay? And if you put one of these under your foot and then roll it backwards and forwards, find your pain threshold, and then do little rocking movements and all sorts of things like that. That actually, because the foot, as we know, because if you do reflexology, it correlates to other pains. I was doing that, and the pain in my shoulder went. I know,
Little things, simple things.
$10.
That's great.
And
I,
then you got a ball, child's got a ball. Oh, let's just do some catch and throw. And do you know what I mean? It's great.
and
Yeah.
you know what? I have to tell you, I'm going to encourage you to go back and listen to my interview with Colleen Flaherty because she talks about that as being one of her
I
self
think
care
it's from
tips.
her.
Oh, you got that from her? I was like, this is amazing. I was at an event with her and I was like, oh, I'm having some back pain. She's like, here, use these balls. And I was like, what?
I bought
Amazing.
these from her. I bought these
Thanks,
from
Colleen.
her.
We love you.
Yeah, so yes, I was at a retreat with her yesterday, and she was doing this with us. So I bought them. There you go.
Perfect. Good product. Yes.
Yeah,
Get a good
I
one.
love that.
Yeah. And what do you have a self care tip that
Do
you,
I have one?
yeah, is there something you do to help take care of you?
Okay, yes, I do my loads of moisturizing, loads of make sure you drink lots of water, but you always moisturize. Yeah. Look after your face. Do you know what? It doesn't need to be something really expensive. Your face, you can put Vaseline on it, but keep the moisture in. Okay?
Okay.
Doesn't need to be expensive. Just get them.
Okay. I better start moisturizing a little bit more. I'm feeling encouraged. What is something you thought you would never say or do?
Oh, let's get another dog.
That's how I'm feeling right now about my dog. Think something about that DOG word, like, oh,
Yeah, he's. I mean, because we lost my heart dog. Oh my gosh, that was heartbreaking. I couldn't even think about getting another dog for a while, and then, but I had always wanted a golden retriever, so we now have a golden retriever
okay.
puppy. He's 7 months old. Yeah,
What's his name?
Sonny, Sonny, like from after the Godfather.
I love it. Awesome. Yeah, I love Claudia does a Happier You Facebook group. And so she lets people post their dogs and all that kind of good stuff. So we get to see all the fun dog friends.
Yeah.
And what's one thing you want parents to really know and take away from our conversation today?
Okay, I would say that it's all an experience. Life is an experience. And you know what? Sometimes it's going to be pretty crappy. And sometimes it's going to be funny. Sometimes it's going to be wow. Sometimes it's just going to be really zen and oh, this is absolutely gloriously happy. Again, a lot of the time it will be just pretty murky. That's all an experience.
Yeah.
And it's okay because what are you learning? How are you growing? What are you learning about yourself? But it's all an experience.
And there's always learning in those experiences. I love it.
Always.
Always. And the other thing too that I love talking about is you are a business owner. So what is something you have learned in your entrepreneurial journey?
Is to build others up as well. You know, make friends. If you want people to like your posts, like theirs too. Comment
Very true. Good wisdom.
on them.
Do the things you want. I love it.
Yeah, if you want, do what you want to be done for you. You know, and get
Yeah.
curious again. Ask people about them, what they do.
Yeah. So good. So good. I've learned so much with you, Claudia, personally and professionally and all around. So it has been such a blessing to have you here today. I'm excited for parents to tune in and
Thank you,
learn.
Irene. Well, you're a blessing because what you
Oh,
do, you really, I know you help people. You're just so kind. You
oh,
know,
well,
you
thank
really
you.
are. People will probably feel really safe with you,
Oh,
and I think that's just and that helps when people feel safe and that you give them that comfort. Then they can from that space that because there's no judgment there. Then they can grow and be their best versions of themselves.
yeah. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. And I think the same of you. Again, we need these spaces to come, providers to help us grow and learn in this journey of parenting. So hopefully you have had some aha moments and some loving lessons learned today. And so we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning into today's show. You can see all of the details and show notes below. And as you go out into your day, I hope that you'll make it your mission to be calm, confident, and rested as you lead today. Sweet dreams.